Welcome to your Monday, October 21st, 2024, Monday Power Hour meeting. It's been 2 weeks, so we have both stacks of paper
I'm going to sit here and smile while they go through their news.
We've missed you since Thanksgiving, so tell us how the past 2 weeks have been. What's happening in your areas? Slow? Slow, like offers or no showings or listings are not selling, or what kind of slow? Just cooking a lot of food. That's good for me. So, what else is happening? Anyone do open houses on the weekend or the previous weekend? I know people did for sure. I think if Kate's in the chat, maybe she can let us know how her open house was. And anyone else in the chat too, let us know how your open house was. I haven't really heard anything. I know things are a little bit slower, but I know a lot of people are doing open houses. Let's just double check that question. I think we are. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, audio backup. Okay, well, the team's quiet today, Clara. How about you just get right into stats?
Okay, so who's got some good news? I got some good news for you.
We have lots of good news.
All right, who wants good news?
Yes,
I want good news.
Hooray. October 23rd, interest rate announcement is going to come. What are we all expecting?
100 basis points.
Woo! I think 0.25.
50 basis points, right? That's what everybody's expecting. That's what everybody's suggesting. The economists and so forth are saying it's going to be 50 basis points.
Oh, Varane is here. Maybe he can reduce 50 more. What's that?
Right. So it's funny how agents are, and people, I guess people are agents, same thing, or it doesn't really matter. But I was talking to some guy last week there, and he's saying, well, we're talking about the half a point coming off on this week there, and he said, yeah, but the next one. The next one's going to be in January. Like let's get over this one first. I'm thinking that half a point's okay for now. But anyway, so people are still anticipating more, right? So it seems kind of odd to me. Did we say that the market was slow or busy this week?
I think slow.
So we want to move her.
Yeah. Morale.
Can someone close the door in the back? Oh, sorry, she's right there. I thought she was in the room.
No, sorry.
Thank you. So we're just going to say what we need. We're over here like trying to type and be secretive.
Distracting.
So what's happening last week there, Nelson? What do you think? Not last week? Busy? Not busy?
A little bit soft, but we had 250 appointments Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 24 hours type.
So 24 offers, 250. It's really weird. I went to Broker Bay. Somebody asked me this morning. They said I've got a property for sale, a townhouse in Scarborough. It was priced low for multiple offers, had 30 showings, no offers.
Oof.
And then all of a sudden now things sort of died right off. And the question to me was, what's the market been like in the last week or so? Have things changed in the last week? What do you guys think? It's a hard question there. But anyway, so I went to Broker Bay. You guys can do this too. Went to Broker Bay and I went to the analytics of Broker Bay. And what Broker Bay does, it tracks all the showings and all the new listings and so on and so forth. So I just checked the showings. And I don't believe these numbers here, but in any case, they're telling me that the week of October 1st, so October 1st to the 6th, there was all across Toronto MLS, there was 13,700 showings.
Oh.
Then in August the 6th, there was 17,500 showings. And then week after that, 17,500. And then October the 13th, there was 16,900 showings, so still almost 17,000. And then last week, there was 5,227.
Whoa. People are tired.
You think the holiday would have affected 10,000 showings?
I'm thinking that the holidays were off, the nice weather in the fall market. What else? So does anybody else sort of think of the same thing? Like that's like dropped by 2/3?
Yeah, because our clients have been quiet over the past week.
So something's going on. And I was just talking to somebody downstairs as well. They're working on an offer right now, and the buyer and the seller are like $5,000 apart. The two agents are thinking about cutting commission. And I'm thinking like, well,
maybe people bought houses. The active buyers had already offered.
But we're on the selling side, and I'm thinking, well, it's our listing. The price is okay. And I said, I bet you the buyer told you that all they could afford was that they can't afford anymore. He said, yeah, that's their excuse. They can't afford anymore. The agent didn't say, well, this comparable went for this, and that comparable went for that. And the agent said, that's all my buyer can afford.
Well, then,
so let's cut commission so they can get the deal. I'm thinking, no way. I just move on. So you got to, so the buyers out there are getting really tough. Eh? You notice that?
Yes.
So you got to be careful with that. As far as the showings go, so who wants good news?
Yes.
More.
Well, bad news.
Good news, right? We've got 25,250 active listings. So that's actually down a little bit. It's been cruising around 25, 27. I think it started at one time there, but it's around 25,000 right now. 11,000 are condominium, 14,000 are freehold. The sales for the first 20 days in October, we've had 3,900 sales. Last October, 20 days, we had 3,100. So actually sales are up 27%. And that's some shaking head. They're basically, so we're starting to get offers. So even though the showings are down, we seem to be getting offers overall. Freeholds, believe it or not, there's 7 freeholds themselves. There's 2,600 sales. Last year, there was 19, almost 2,000 sales. Freeholds are up 32%. And condominiums, unfortunately, are only up 17%. But I guess on the good side is they were up 17%.
Mm-hmm.
So it has started. So condominiums are going up 17%. So what's happening in the condominium market, even though it's getting slow, I think people are finally adjusting the price to the point where it sells. If you're not, has anybody noticed that? Like if you're not adjusting the price, it's not, nothing's happening, right?
Yeah.
The buyers are still resisting. The buyers are still there. I think, what did I say last week? There's like 6 to 1 months of inventory for condominiums.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for overall, it's probably what, 4 to 1, something like that.
Yeah.
It's good. Owner-occupied properties, overall 48% owner-occupied, 36% of condominiums are owner-occupied, and 57% of freeholds are owner-occupied. So it's all consistent with investors trying to flip properties and trying to sell properties. Interesting number here. These numbers doubled from 2 weeks ago. Properties that sold for over asking. 15% of condominiums went for over asking. 27% of freeholds went for over asking. So at one point we were actually 50-50, but now it's 27. So the question is, where do I price a property? Do I price it low to generate multiple offers, or do I price it at value? If you price it low, you're only 27% of the properties are selling.
Mm-hmm.
Over asking.
Yeah.
1 to 4, right? So if you're going to do that game and you're going to price it low, just make sure it's obvious that you price it lowest, because you're going to get, if you're trying to get $1 million and you price it for, I don't know, $950, hold off offers, you're going to get offers for $899,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even though you want $1 million. So
Yeah.
that's what's happening out there. Good. Those are the stats for now.
Keep going, and I'll piggyback wherever you start. I'll go. So we talked about 50 basis points potentially being cut this week, but some people are suggesting that still might not help people. So there's still people that are in a really bad situation that bought 2020, have really crazy high interest rates, and even with 50 basis points, it's still not going to cut it for them. So they have increased inflation, so the cost of groceries are higher, cost of living is higher, everything is just still too high. And so even with 50 basis points, it might still not help people. There are still a lot of people who are in a really nasty sort of situation. What may help some people is starting in December when all the potential mortgage rules come into effect. So that may be what finally sort of helps people, that combination of the 50 basis points with these new mortgage rules, stress test, insured mortgages, that may potentially help people. But I think that's why we're seeing a bit of a slowdown right now, because people are waiting till December. So now you've got October, November, then December, once all those things are finalized, because they're not even for sure yet, then maybe we'll start to see people coming off. But then you're going to have Christmas, so they're going to get through that. And that's why they're predicting spring Q1 next year to really be where things turn around. Whether prices will come down or not, we're still not convinced, and that's still not going to help people. But I think that's what people are kind of waiting for, is December for the new mortgage stuff.
Do you remember the new mortgage stuff? Just to remind you.
Might as well remind.
Yeah, there's a lot. And actually, I think I'll create sort of like a one-pager that combines the potential mortgage rules as well as all the first-time homebuyer incentives, because there is a lot. We did a little one-pager a while ago, so I'll probably do it again as well.
So they've got what'd they do? They've changed, I think it's December the 15th effective?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They've got a 30-year amortization mortgage for people buying brand new houses. It doesn't help us, but maybe gets people moving a little bit there. Maybe they're going to move up. So it's 30-year amortization. What's the difference on that? You want to read that?
So with 25 years, let's say the total mortgage loan is $600,000. At 24 years amortization, let's say assuming 5% on both sides, monthly payment would be about $3,500, right? On 25 years, amortization on a $600,000 loan at 5%. That same $600,000 loan, 30 years, so the extra 5 years, same percentage, will actually bring it down to just over $3,000. So that's about a $500 a month difference. That's pretty big, right?
That's for $600,000.
$600,000 loan. So total
Mortgage.
payments over 25 years would be $300, 420 payments with the 30 years. So this is where the kicker is. The interest on the first option, 25 years amortization, is $452,000. Can you guess what the total interest paid on the extra 5 years might be? $672,000 total interest. So even though it's helping your short-term monthly payments right now, really it's just prolonging and adding interest and not really affecting your principal. Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. So it depends on what your goals are. If you want to be helped short-term and you're protecting your budget monthly, knowing that maybe later you'll receive more income and you can put that back towards your mortgage, or if you're thinking long-term, it may not be a good option for you.
Some people don't even stay in their houses that long.
That's true.
It's too bad they don't do 30-year mortgages for resales, unless you're a
First-time home buyer.
No, unless you're a trust company or something like that.
Okay,
or
true.
Corporation?
But that's with the convention, with the 20%.
Mm.
This new changes.
you can get a 30-year amortization mortgage
20%.
with 20% down or more, right?
Some of them
With any bank or with credit unions.
Some trust companies are doing 35 years out of faith.
Okay.
Who's that?
Out of faith. Out of faith? 35.
So there are tools out there for longer amortization, but not in the high ratio.
So is
World.
everyone doing 30-year amortization with the more than 20% down?
With the 20% down, yeah, 30 years.
Everyone.
Like TD, Scotia, everybody. Okay. So that's a $500 difference here, right? So we got to think about that right now. If we drop half a point on Wednesday, which looks like we will, what is that on a $600,000 mortgage? Is it $15? Is it $15 per 100,000? Looking at somebody here.
Dropped it $190.
I'm going to be a little bit more than that, about 30 years. The 1/4% is almost $15.
Quarter point's $15. Okay, so 15, so $30. So this would be another $180 savings. Okay, so that's good news too, right? So yeah, that's fun.
Good news.
Very good. Other good news is other people are predicting sales for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Depends who you want to talk to. But Ontario sales are expected to jump by almost 10% next year, but prices, sorry, those are sales, not prices, but sales, not as much. Sorry, the prices not as much. They're predicting that the prices, this is CMHC, there are only slight uptick on the prices, about 1.5%. So if you got people that think they want to wait for the market to change so they get more money, if it does change, it's going to change maybe 1.5%.
Yeah. So that's what they're saying, that everyone's going to kind of wait for the market to show a little bit of a sign, and then they're all going to come together. It's the weirdest thing because they could come right now and take advantage of all these things, but they're all going to wait to see a little bit of a lift, and then they're all going to come together, and it's going to screw up everything all over again. So we're going to be back in 2020, 2021 again. A little bit of bad news, so then we can go back to good news after. But do you feel like half of your paycheck goes towards paying taxes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, I see a lot of nods. So it's actually more than half. The average Canadian family spends most of its income on taxes instead of necessities. So there was a study that looked at the Consumer Tax Index and how much families were spending on taxes. The report found that the average family spent 43% of its income just on taxes last year in 2023, which is more than the 35.6% based on basic needs like housing, food, and clothing combined. So this is a big difference from 1961, when the average family then spent less of its income on duties, about 33.5%, and on necessities was closer to 56.5%. So things have really changed since the 60s over time. Part of that, they're saying that in 1984 is when they introduced the Canada Health Act, and that's what was to provide Canadians with free health care, but of course you pay for that through your taxes. So if you feel like half your money is going to your taxes, it is. And there's other things like income, payroll, sales, property, carbon, health, fuel, alcohol taxes. So almost everything we do here in Canada and Ontario is taxed, and most of your income is now going towards those taxes.
Where did you get that article?
I will let you know. It's online.
Okay.
Is someone asking?
Yeah.
Okay, I can share it for sure, Kate. No worries. So that's bad news, but there is more good news, so you can go back to good news.
Oh, so we're doing good news, bad news? Okay.
I had to get it in there a little bit. I want to
called
end
the
off.
sand-
I
the
want to get off on an end
sandwich
note. Yeah.
What else did they do on the mortgage side? Anybody else know? You can now.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Yeah. So the high ratio mortgages have extended to $1.5 million rather than $1 million, right?
Yep.
So that was good news.
Yep.
That's for the only new homes or resale?
That's resale as well, right? The other thing that they've done is they've removed the stress tests if somebody's going to be shopping their mortgage. They want to renew their mortgage. The mortgage comes due and they want to shop that mortgage. They don't have to qualify for a stress test if they're going to shop that to a different bank.
Yeah, that's good.
So if somebody has a 1 year mortgage, can they shop next year different time?
I would say it depends on their terms.
It has to be exact same mortgage, exact same terms. So it have to be a one.
Yeah, for 1 year.
It would have to be a 1 year mortgage that they're switching to. I'm going to my expert here.
No, they can switch it, but the mortgage dollar amount has to be the same,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
amortization
Amortizing
remain the
dollar
same.
same, yeah.
So let's say they start with 30 years.
So you take a B lender open mortgage, okay? 2 months later, you switch it to another bank.
Depends on penalties and the terms of the mortgage.
B lender open mortgage.
But the thing is, they qualify in 2 different ways for the period.
No, because you're not in stress test.
But they had to qualify with the B lender is different than an A lender.
B lender does qualify.
But then if you're going to the bank, you need to re-qualify again with the new.
Yeah, re-qualify, but you're qualified without stress test. But you're not qualified with the stress test.
But when you go to the bank, you'll be stress tested again.
No, why again? Because you're transferring mortgage from B lender to the bank.
But it's a 2 different criteria. The bank will say. So let's say you have a mortgage with TD Bank on open term. You want to go to Scotia Bank, that may be fine. Because they
you
already
can transfer from B lender to the bank.
You will be re-qualified again with an income.
Yeah, re-qualified without stress test.
With stress test.
With stress.
It has to be the same terms. It can't just go from B to A and different.
Same time.
But it's a
$500,000 mortgage, 25-year amortization, and but now you don't have to go through this.
no. But I think the A lender is what you're saying has different criteria for approving you.
And also the incomes are qualified, that's why they're already with the B lender. If they qualify, they would have been going with an A lender to begin with. That's a caveat to it.
I guess you didn't get it. All I'm saying is get rid of the stress test. If I go B lender, I don't qualify for the stress test, but I go to B lender. But I do qualify without stress test because I don't have to go through stress test, and then I can go to A lender.
You cannot do it, that's what.
But if you're qualified with the A lender, you would have not gone to the B lender to begin with.
But I don't qualify for the stress test.
Oh,
I see what you mean.
That's what I'm saying.
But then I had to look into that. I want to know what the switch works with the banks. Because sometimes the switches are only within the major banks. Like they will not take a private
So
switch.
that's what we don't know. That's what we need to find out.
Okay, I'll look into that.
You know.
Yep, fair.
Good.
Okay, what else? Good news. Is that everything?
Well, okay. So good news. No. So if you've got investors that are sitting on their hands because market's not doing as good as they might have thought, particularly in the condo market here, the stuff I'm reading here says that there's going to be a bit of a reckoning come in the future. They're saying here that in 2024 there's 33,000 new condominiums that are going to be coming to market, right? Then there's going to be 34,000 in 25, and then 26 there's going to be 31,000, but 27 is going to be 23,000. So it's going to drop by a third. So they're suggesting here that come 2027 that there's going to be a shortfall of condominiums that if you weren't thinking about investing, you might want to buy now while there's a flux. Because come 2027 there's going to be a demand.
Yep, it's true.
So what was Chris talking about the future stuff and what's going in the future in that? So something to think about there, right? Because some condominiums there's some really good deals out there is these pre-construction. I was talking to an agent last week there, and he's saying that that's all he does. He just goes after pre-construction, and his buyers are all predators, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're making this. The guys that bought the assignments and they put $100,000, $90,000 down, they're walking away from that. So the buyers are picking up these properties and putting $90,000 in their pocket, just taking over the paper.
And about 4 years.
They bought 4 years ago. So there's plenty of opportunity. If you've got buyers sitting there or investors sitting there that are not doing anything because the market's this, there's a market there for pre-construction.
Yeah, and I think that's safer than buying true pre-construction because it's already been dug, it's being built, you can see it physically, you know it's going to end up closing, versus like we heard last week about 2 projects being canceled. So Greywood at Centricity, Yonge and Dundas got canceled, and they're trying to promote people to go to their other projects. Otherwise, they're returning deposits in full. And I just found out this morning that Porta and Belleville was canceled as well, and they're going to convert those into stacked townhouses, which will take another couple of years too. So I think going the assignment route, when you can see it, feel it, you know it's almost close, whether it's in occupancy, it's pretty close to being done. That's a much safer investment right now than trying to sell something that hasn't been even dug yet because they don't have the financing and they're being canceled as we speak. So, yeah.
The other thing I'm reading is that a lot of these condo developments, you guys have heard these condo developments have been stopped, they've been put on hold, there's lots of media about that, but what these guys are doing, they're converting over to the purpose-built rental instead of condominium.
Yeah.
So rather than put it in the condominium market, they're going to keep the money because rents have gone up so high, and the rates are going down. It's a better investment for the developer to create a rental building rather than a condo building.
Yeah.
It's curious, huh?
That's true. So the government tried to put out new good news last week on October 8th regarding secondary suites and vacant lands to build more homes. So across Canada, too many properties are underused or vacant, from unused basements, empty office towers, vacant lots. There's tons of space that we have that's not being used properly. So they're going to attempt to try to incentivize people to start building these suites and using their basements. You heard about laneway suites, stuff like that. They want to make it easier for homeowners to convert an unused basement into rental apartment or a garage into laneway to increase density in our community. So this is called the Canada Secondary Suite Loan Program that will start January 15th, 2025. Secondary suites can help homeowners pay their mortgage with new rental apartment, bring families closer together. For example, a retired couple may wish to downsize into a new laneway home while their kids raise their young family in the existing home. So the changes will allow financing of insured mortgages for secondary suites. They're going to increase mortgage insurance home price limit to $2 million for those refinancing to build a secondary suite. They're also going to launch consultations on the taxation of vacant land. So they're going to go back to the cities and municipalities and allow them to create their own vacant land tax programs. And that, again, is to try to get landowners who have land to actually build houses on this and not just sit on them. The last thing they're going to do, they've got actual federal properties. We actually did a tour of some of these federal-owned properties. Yeah. They're all over Rouge, like on Crown kind of land, and some of them we saw were like terrible. They need a ton of work
like
to be
barns.
lived in. Like I couldn't believe it. But right now they have 14. It doesn't sound like a whole lot. But they've identified federal properties all over Canada that they're going to get in there and renovate and try to get houses built.
It doesn't include the Rouge ones that we saw?
It probably would, yeah. So we were kind of part of that. We got asked to give them quotations on the value of these properties and what they could rent them for. So we did a whole analysis for Rouge Park, to help them with that. It wasn't very many. We saw like 5.
No, but it was very interesting. You wouldn't think that these homes were owned by the government and they're doing very cheap rentals on them too. But it was very interesting to see them and who they give them to.
Yeah. So that's part of their plan to build $4 million houses. The other thing I found sort of contradictory, though, at the same time they're trying to get people to build secondary suites, Toronto actually has a huge problem that they're losing multiplexes to luxurious single-family homes. So there's some people in areas like Parkdale, Ronces, the areas in Toronto have really big, huge, like 5-unit places. People are going in and stripping it all and making it a single-family home. So it could be like a 3,000 to 5,000 square foot home meant for one family, and there's actually no rules in Toronto regarding the reverse flip and taking the multiplex and putting them into a family home. So now this article is saying, even though they're trying to introduce all these things to allow for secondary home, we actually have still an existing problem in Toronto where we're taking the multiplexes and sort of gentrified areas and making them single family homes. So it's kind of going backwards of what they're trying to do. They're calling them McMansions. So they're like 5,000 square feet. They took a house, for example, like 2020 was bought for $1.9 million, turned it into a single family home, and now it's for sale for $4.7 million. And this is, in doing that, they've displaced 5 families who now can't afford probably rent because they had affordable rent in that house. They displaced those people, and there's very limited rules about that. So these people are saying we should put some rules into converting to single family and put some taxes on that, so to try to get people to keep them into a multifamily residence. So there's always contradictories and things that are happening in our world.
That was by the Toronto Star. I noticed the Star has a pattern, right? They also wrote a big article on flipping properties.
Yes.
and how they're saying here that people that are flipping properties are hurting the industry because they're taking a house that a family could afford, like a $800,000 Scarborough bungalow, let's say, and they're turning it into a $6 million modern home.
Mhm.
So now that family can't afford the $800,000 home because everybody's jacking up their prices. Well, as I say, the same guy that wrote that article probably wrote this article here too, saying how the multiplexes are disappearing, right? So it's interesting how free market versus social housing, the two are sort of against each other, right?
No, it's true. And if you are going to take your
50-foot lot in Percy, they're allowed to build 5 flats in residential.
Yeah.
Imagine that, 50-foot lot.
Yeah, we've got a neighbor who's on his 4th unit, and we think he's doing one in the back. We saw a concrete truck pull up last week and go through the side, and we're pretty sure he's building a unit in the back. And this is a bungalow that's now and there's no parking on our street. There's no sidewalk, so
It's not even a nice house.
there was a
Just
for
across
sale
the-
sign
across
on
the
it
street?
for 8 months. Finally got taken down last
I
week.
saw his Facebook. I saw him pouring.
Yeah,
I would just I would put that to a stop. Just fold the city.
I think you're almost allowed to do it though.
So ask for a building permit.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably doing it properly.
Bet you got the bird building permit.
Building permit has to be in the window.
There's nothing in that window.
All right, well, this is being recorded, so we won't tell you where that property is. If you are going to use your home as a source of rental income, so just some things to be aware. This is a little story about a girl who, millennial, couldn't afford her own mortgage, so she bought a house, but she actually lived in the basement, rented out 2 units, did a laneway thing as well. But something to be aware of is once you take a single family residence and you start making it income potential, so if you're doing a little room or a little basement, maybe not so much, but if you've got 2 extra units or 3 extra units, CRA is going to consider that a business now, and you're actually going to have tax liabilities. So just don't think you can rent out all the rooms in your house without, of course there's taxes. This whole theme of the meetings, there's taxes on everything. So any income you receive will be taxed, but just be careful because it actually could switch the classification of the house from single family to an actual running business. So just be aware of that as well. You want to move into that kind of stuff?
What else you got?
There's a lot of things. Let's see. We kind of talked about this already, but rate cuts have barely improved housing affordability. So even though Canada's central bank has improved affordability in terms of the interest rates, it hasn't really had a significant impact, as we talked about already. So metrics have inched lower in markets across the country, but prospective buyers still face historic challenges. So like I said, they're struggling to find a home they can afford in the aftermath of massive price escalation and spike in interest rates. So even though interest rates are inching down, prices are still way too high. Inflation is lower, but still cost of living is very high, especially in Vancouver and Toronto. Even with these mortgage rules, essentially it's just prolonging what they need to pay in their mortgage and interest. And so overall hasn't seen the impact that we all thought it was going to see. Most likely we're going to see it happen in spring.
Okay, I got some tales from the street.
Okay, good.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay, so somebody came to us last week there, Nelson and I came to us in the property in Oshawa and wanted to know whether or not the apartment was registered, or I forget the exact story there, but what we ended up doing is we've tried to find out whether or not this property was registered as having a basement apartment. Now in Oshawa, just in case you guys are dealing in Oshawa, they're very, very, very strict. And the only way that you can legally rent a basement apartment in Oshawa or a secondary unit in Oshawa is to have proper zoning, proper bylaws, and so on and so forth. And you must also be on the list.
Are those actual addresses?
This is a list of registered units, registered secondary units in Oshawa.
It's on the internet.
It's on the internet.
All right.
Why they don't do it in Ajax, Pickering, Brampton, I have no idea, but Oshawa is strict. I think Oshawa had some fires, some people passed, and they thought that's the end of that, and they're not going to allow anything to go in there unless it's been on their list. So if you're selling a place, if you're renting out a basement apartment, and the property's not on this list, don't do it. It's not legal. And as a realtor, even though it's your friend and you're trying to help your past client, friend, whatever it might be, rent out their basement apartment, it's not legal. You can't advertise a not legal basement apartment as a realtor.
So should we say in-law apartment?
In this case, you're renting out the basement apartment, and they wanted to put an MLS for rent for the basement apartment, illegal basement apartment. What do you?
Only Oshawa?
That's what it was, yeah.
How about Toronto?
You can't be, if you're gonna sell it, you can talk about in-laws, blah, blah, blah.
This was a listing for an illegal basement apartment.
Something just happened in Ajax. One of my clients listed their home, sold it, and we just said new pot lines. And the city inspector came, say, show me the permit for new pot lights. And put a work order on it.
You need for pot lights?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need electrical permits.
And he said, you don't have permit for that. So it was okay.
So-
done
so-
by electrician.
The story though is somebody's monitoring MLS listings, looking out for
I
this.
see MLS listing. Nobody complained.
But somebody, how did they find out?
Listing said new.
That's what I'm saying. So they're scrubbing the listings to find out new, and they
That's
know.
weird,
Careful anywhere.
So yeah, everyone's scrubbing these
Was this
listings.
this is Ajax, right? And
It could be, yeah.
And just so you know, just going back to my rental thing, we did have a client. I'm gonna make up the story. I don't know if it's true or not. It seems to me it's true. We had an agent that listed an illegal basement apartment, and guess who knocked on the door?
CRA.
The city.
Oh.
You don't have a
Hearing.
permit, sir. Get rid of that basement apartment. So we're trying to do your friend a favor by putting an illegal basement on MLS to lease it for them. Next thing you know, he's got to tear it out because the city caught him.
Yeah.
What did you just say in last week?
You can't advertise a basement apartment
No, in last week.
for lease.
No, not.
I'm talking
For
for lease.
lease, they're leasing it.
If you sell a property, another story. I'm talking about for leasing, right?
So it's better not to put any stuff
You're
like
just-
that on a.
Finished basement.
No, you're basically showing the world that you're doing something illegal. Like it's,
Okay, and here's something else to think about. You have a lot of clients, and maybe it's just custom, but a lot of people want to pay under the table. Like, why wouldn't you get a basement apartment in Oshawa anywhere? Why would you build a basement apartment without a permit? Why would anybody build a basement apartment without a permit?
Save money.
cheap.
Cheap.
It's not just cheap because they
After
come
making more
to you,
details.
just cheap.
No. My question.
don't
No,
want-
But
here's-
why build it in
my
the first
question
place?
is, why would somebody build a basement apartment without a building permit?
Cheap.
It's cheap.
You say cheap.
Or
How
they
cheap?
don't know.
What do you mean cheap?
They don't want to pay it.
Because
Save the taxes.
You don't have to go through the road.
I want to say that you got some guy that wants to be paid under the table, and you're saving 13% HST by paying him cash. Meanwhile, you're cutting off your nose for this 13% because you can no longer advertise as being legal,
Well,
and
that's not the case.
and you can't include the income on your qualification for your mortgage. So you're cutting your face off by thinking you're doing all this stuff cash and thinking you're saving money. You're sneaking it around. You're losing money.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Sean.
See, sometimes you already
Some
have finished
don't.
basement,
Some don't.
and to convert it into basement apartment requires a lot of legality. Changes.
Yeah.
And so you basically say, I'll just put a kitchen and a bathroom and then close the wall and you have basement apartment.
What we're saying though is if you do it properly,
Into the basement,
yeah.
you have basement apartment rental.
But if you do it properly, you can put it on MLS and you can get a proper rental rate for it and claim your income.
Rip off the existing basement quite a bit.
We also run into a problem. Appraisals are mentioning is an illegal basement, and the bank doesn't want to lend it.
Of course not.
Yep.
There's a lot of everybody think they're smart and trying to get stuff on their table. Joe
They don't think
will do it
future.
cheap. Won't charge me HST. He'll do it for $1,000 instead of $2,000. Okay, there's stuff
They
going.
had to mention on the appraisal Canada, there was new guideline, they need to mention it's illegal or illegal.
But Ajax does not give you a certificate for the legal basement apartment. I just wrote one for.
So every city's different. So.
Huh?
Every city's different.
So I asked them, they said, yeah, this is conforming basement. I said, is it legal? He emailed back to me, yes, it is legal.
The seller.
Huh?
The
So I
seller?
attached that email to the offer to say that's how legal it is,
From the seller, right?
from the seller.
Cool. So you've bought your dream home, you're ready to close on it, but not so fast. Make sure you take a look at everything in between you achieving a firm offer and closing. There's a ton of stuff that can happen in between that time frame. So the window between signing and having a firm deal and closing is about 60 to 90 days. And in that time, there's a lot of important steps that happen. It's not just about securing the actual house, right? So you've got to be able to sign the mortgage, qualify for the mortgage, do all your property transfer documents, paying legal fees, closing costs, administrative costs as well. A lot of people don't realize that those funds that you're using towards your down payment needs to be liquid. So if you've got it tied up in RRSPs, that could take almost 90 days. If you're pulling it out of like a home buyer's plan, for example, it doesn't just come out right away as soon as you get it out. So if you're working first-time home buyers and they're using these plans, warn them that they need a pretty good closing to be able to take that out right away. It takes about 90 days to take a home buyer's plan withdrawal. And that's no longer tax deductible, so that's good, but it's just the timing that we're warning you about.
What they're worried about, if it hasn't been in the, Frank can confirm this, if it hasn't been in your RSP for 90 days, the government may not allow you to take it out
It's got to be vested for also that same time.
And they may not allow you to even use it as an RSP.
So they might tax you on that, right? If it hasn't been there for 90 days. So
After
something.
first home buyer.
Still the RSP. That's what we're talking about.
First home buyer, is that 90 days too?
Yeah.
But if you
You have to have money.
have it vested for
Money has to be
them.
an RSP for 90 days.
Yeah, so you can take it out.
But when the first home buyer,
Yes.
it's $8,000 a year.
Yes, exactly. So you have to have it vested for at least 90 days.
No, the 8,000. No, that's a different one.
That's
You already paid. You've already paid.
Oh, you pay taxes on it
You
already.
already paid tax on
Fair.
that, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's fair. So that legal expenses, title insurance, land transfer tax, home inspection fees, appraisal fees. People are suggesting to budget between 1.5 to even 4% of the home's purchase price towards closing costs. PST on insurance. We have obviously HST here in Ontario. Also avoiding making big purchases. So this is part of our home buyer's checklist, but you don't go out and buy a car. That's going to affect your mortgage appraisal. Even your furniture, we advise, don't put anything on your credit card that might affect your credit card rating
Like
or
a
anything
loan.
like that. Loan, anything, any really big spenders, right?
So we've done this, right? We've done this where somebody's got their pre-qualification grant, I'm sure. And who wants to move in their new house without new furniture?
Yeah.
Right?
Nobody. That's the most exciting part.
Nobody. So let's go to the brick and let's get some furniture and put it on our line of credit.
And let's take out the brick credit card to get 10% off too at the
We'll
same
just
time.
do monthly payments.
So you know what happens, right? It screws up their credit rating and
Yeah.
it screws up everything. So just you got to tell your clients that what Katelyn came up with seven things, no,
The
sins or
7 commandments.
sins.
7 commandments. Do not buy a house. Do not buy a car. Do not buy anything between the time you bought it and closing.
Not even a big vacation.
Not even a vacation. Zero. Nothing. Don't do anything.
Don't do anything.
Don't
Just
take
sit in
a
your
big
current house.
inheritance. I even had a couple that got married and they put all their gift money into an account and it got flagged for something. So they had to go. Yeah, a big cash. So they got flagged on that. Like, where'd that come from?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a delay on a closing for that once.
Yeah, and they're saying, keep in close contact with your mortgage broker. Don't lie to them. Make sure you tell them everything that you have because what you were approved for before you bought the house might have changed slightly by the time you have bought it. So make sure you're being
Don't change your job.
fully truthful about what's happening. That's another good point too. Job change because they want to see job security for at least 2-3 years. Right? No, that's fair.
I thought this was just fun. Just fun for talk. Just talk. Winnipeg. This guy here, this real estate agent got fined $35,000 and lost his license for a year and a half. What he had done is he purchased a house and he renovated the house and he sold the house. But when he renovated the house, he hid all the cracks in the basement, put drywall up, hid everything, and just hid all the defects. Of course, the buyer moves in, finds out these things, and then he finds out this guy hid the things. It was his own house. He was his own agent.
His own house.
His own house, his own agent. But this is the best part. Winnipeg, right? They paid $250,000 for this place.
What?
For the whole house. And then they renovated it and resold it for, profit. Doesn't say what the profit was, but paid $250,000 for a house in 2019. They got fined $35,000 fine. That'd be like a 10-year fine for the poor guy. Interesting.
Do you have more real estate stuff? Because mine are not really real estate.
Let's get into what time?
Yeah, it's already 1:25.
Yeah. Let's get into your
Rules?
rules.
Your favorite part. I know everyone's checked out now. I'm going to see people signing off, especially Mo's. He's only here for the stats. So December 2nd, there are more rules coming, because we didn't have enough year of changes this year. They decided to introduce a whole bunch of new changes as of December 2nd. They're basically going to a provincial-wide MLS system, not in terms of the board and access, but in terms of rules, meaning that everybody province-wide will have the same rules. So Toronto won't have different rules than Simcoe than Windsor. We're all going to be following the same MLS rules, and that's going to come with some changes from the Toronto area. So right now, if you have a listing and that listing sells conditional or sells, we as a brokerage have a rule about 2 days that has to be reported on MLS, which means we need the deposit information, we need your transaction report, we need all of your documents to process that on MLS. That rule is now changed to the next business day. So before it was pretty tight, two days, now it's the next day. Wow. So you need to, if you have a listing, please get Heather your deposit receipts, your transaction. We want the full package, not just piecemeal documents. We want everything right away so that we can report to MLS the next business day. Probably AI scrubbing this stuff because I've seen more DIS notices than I have ever. So I'm sure there's tools that are scrubbing these things, but we will get a notice that's called a DIS notice from TREB. It gives us the warning, what the mistake was, what the MLS number was, and then we've got a certain amount of time to fix it. without that time, then we automatically get fined. So if you've had listings or things you've probably seen DIS requests, some of them are normal, they're honest mistakes too. Some of them will need to be corrected right away.
If you don't have deposit,
Well, then you can't report it as sold or.
then like a deposit comes
That's
9 o'clock at night. How
The
can you
next-
deposit?
So the
next
the
day.
next business day is the rule. So that next day,
After the deposit.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
If deposit takes 2 days, it's still one next.
Yeah, and hopefully your agreement will say that deposit's not 24 hours. You would have had it in your schedules, right, to say when the deposit's coming. Yep.
How agents are sometimes.
Oh, yes, we know. Currently, we have a deadline. So again, if you have a listing and we're paying the cooperating broker, we have a deadline of 10 days to pay the broker from the time of closing. So oftentimes we will get lease paperwork after the lease has closed and we're already in breach of compliance there because we have an obligation to pay the cooperating broker within 10 days. That is now changing to 7 days. So we even have less time to pay the cooperating broker. So again, even more reason to please get us your documents ASAP so that we can pay and invoice everybody accordingly. Currently, there is a responsibility for the cooperating brokerage to make sure they cancel their appointment on time. They've actually extended that now to the listing brokerage to have some responsibility in that too. So it's not always cooperating showing agents that are canceling appointments. Sometimes it gets canceled on the listing side. And that needs to be done properly. So if you showed up to a house and the listing says, no, your appointment was canceled, it's sold today, and we're canceling your showing, they can get in trouble for that now too. So they need to also cancel your appointment within a certain amount of time before you show up to the house. So that it goes both ways now. There's going to be a whole bunch of new fields in MLS, which you started to see already. We do have new editable forms. So you might have seen the girls send you those new forms as of last week. A couple new rules, including the remarks that you can put in the listing. So public-facing fields must only display comments concerning the property. That's not really that new, but you've seen agents be a little bit creative in terms of like amenities and surrounding areas. So you have to be careful that anything client remarks has to be concerning the actual property. Broker remarks must only display comments that it could impact cooperating brokerages. So again, they're probably going to limit you to put extra things in brokerage remarks. It really should be for what the cooperating broker needs to know to put in an offer on that listing. And then the offer remarks are actually going to make it mandatory for us to put content about registration of an offer, what you need to do to prepare an offer. If there's a seller direction form that's signed, that information needs to be actually put in the offer remarks field as well. So none of that is really that new. Typically, if you had an offer night, you'd send out an email the night before saying, closing, we want this. This is what time we're going to review. This is what we expect. They're actually going to now have us put it right in the listing. So I actually don't mind that. It doesn't hurt to have it right there in the listing itself. This was the shortened version of about a 50-page document of new rules. So I'll probably send out a little email, and you'll honestly hear from us in Deal Admin if you're not compliant. You'll see it slowly. But we've been getting a lot of DIS notices on listings.
Offer at 7 and happen to be sellers not available. Even though your listing says registered by 6 and presenting at 7.
And the seller's not available?
Yeah, just happen to be not available.
I know there's no rule around that, but I'd say you have to communicate clearly what time it's going to change. So you have to let everyone know, hey, the seller's actually not available. Emergency happened. We'll review at 9 p.m. or whatever the case may be. I think it's all about communication.
What happens in the last minute? So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I had an offer presentation where my client
communication.
fell asleep.
Yeah.
Like literally, and people thought I was lying. They were so mad at me. They're like,
Well, he
"What
was
do you
in a
mean?"
different
He was in a
country.
different time zone, and he didn't really care. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and we had some good offers. He literally fell asleep. I didn't hear about him till the next day, and then he woke up. And in that time, people competed against each other. And we had a better offer by the time he woke up. So, but yeah,
So just to show you what PropTech's doing, everybody here wanted to have a province-wide MLS, right? So what PropTech has done, they've gone to London now already, London and Toronto and Durham, whatever the other places, and now they're starting to do Peterborough and these places, and they all have different MLS than we do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're trying to get it all the same. So they got some wacky questions on the data sheets, like waterfront,
foundation, roof type.
foundation, well type, all stuff that you never even concern yourself with, but out in Peterborough, it's standard.
Yeah.
So they're trying to create all the standard forms for all the province. So that's what's
I
going on.
suspect the end goal will be that eventually we'll have MLS access to all of
Everybody.
Ontario.
I think so, 'cause
Like,
I
we're
heard
slowly
that-
getting that way.
By the end of the
so-
year, maybe.
Because they were supposed to do it in Hamilton. I think Hamilton and
Yeah.
London and Oakville, they were supposed to do something there, and then London bailed on them and went to PropTech, so they left the other two guys hanging. So I think they'll probably, at the end of this year, they'll probably join PropTech as well.
Yep, sure.
Just going back on paperwork and stuff like that, we're trying to get better. We're trying to get you guys to hopefully get paperwork, but I was told I'm just repeating what I was told. I don't know what's true or not, but I was told on the 1st of October, the 2nd of October, we had 20 deals handed in that closed on the 1st of October.
Leases.
Leases, right? That's a problem.
Naughty.
That's a problem for us, right?
I know it seems okay because it's like, well, it's not just a lease. There's no lawyers involved. I'm going to get paid. The problem is now we've got to process 20 leases when we have purchases and listings to process that do take priority. There's invoices required, right? So it screws up the whole operation chain.
And the other problem because you're dealing with your mom and pa landlords, when the deal closed on the first, when do they want their money?
First.
They want it on the second. Meanwhile, we didn't got the deal, let alone, and plus, agents phone us up and says, my client's mad, you and 20 other people.
Yeah. You handed in your paperwork.
And then in the end, it kind of makes you look bad and the brokerage, because it seems like we're unprofessional, not doing our thing. And the whole thing is just makes everything negative. So please be organized. Get your paperwork to us on time. When you do the deal, get it to us. Do not wait.
As soon as money goes to a trust account, we should have the paperwork.
Lease, purchases, everything.
Because the girls don't know that you're doing deals unless you guys hand in the paperwork. We don't get flagged when you guys do a deal.
2 more things and then a page, and then you can go on, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to do
Okay,
events.
so I did my chat GBT. Who's using chat GBT?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So I got a call on the weekend from an agent. He says, I don't know what he's doing. He says, what is PC zoning in Ajax, North Ajax? PC zoning. So I went to the Ajax website and I'm thinking, okay, went to the zoning department, trying to find where all these symbols mean, all the stuff there. And then I realized this is crazy. Open up ChatGPT, which is an American site. ChatGPT, and I says, what is PC zoning for Ajax and commercial? And it came back and says it's prestigious commercial. They want high profile buildings in this area here, and they want it to be whatever else. So in a matter of typing it up, hitting enter, I had the answer rather than screwing around looking at the website. So I did also the thing with green shields. I get lots of questions on green shields. Is this covered? Is that covered? How much is covered? What's the deductible? I went to ChatGPT, same thing. I went to green shield, looking at all this stuff. Went to that, I said, what's the deductible for something or other on green shields? Came back and told me. So, interesting.
I saw it as a ChatGPT tool, but they're calling it Lead Gen GPT, but it's powered by ChatGPT. I don't know if anybody would actually do this. The Lead Gen GPT. I want someone to try it for me. So basically what you do is you submit your entire database to this company. So you give them all your clients' emails, when they purchase, like everything you have in your database. And their tool apparently will scrub it and they'll come back to you with a report that tells you which clients are going to be ready to buy in the next 6 months. So I don't know how, I don't know what they do, but they're comparing cold calling, door knocking, like all the stuff could take 20 hours or more, where their thing could take 2 hours. Within 2 hours, you'll have a report back of who you should be following up with. And then there's a whole other layer where they're actually going to email you information, like they actually connect with your clients for you too, and have a little conversation and then get them really engaged. I would be too scared to give my whole database to somebody, but please, someone should try it, please.
I'll try it. I want to try it.
I'm really, even 10 names or something. And so there actually is a tool. You can go there and try it out for free to see how the technology works and get a feel for it. But
yeah, see what they're Googling.
Probably.
Coming up with an idea.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If they're on like realtor.ca, stuff like that.
Probably, one of those little boxes where you talk to that box, a Google box, whatever it's called, right?
Yeah.
So the things listen to you. So Jackie just plugs into that. Says, oh, they had eggs for breakfast. Okay.
That's true.
Would it be a smart idea to get a lawyer involved to see before you actually sign up and see what's in there?
They give you the tool to try it.
You know, Shiv was talking about how he got emails on people doing stuff. I got an email this morning. It wasn't email, it was Instagram. On Instagram, this person comes on there and they talk about lead gen. And they have their face on there talking about lead gen this, and it's AI lead gen, similar to this stuff here. And this person here, I know this person.
He's a liar.
And he says, I made $300,000 and this and then. Wait a second.
No, he did not.
You worked for me for 10 years. You didn't sell a single house. How'd you get $300,000 all of a sudden? So it's the same thing. EI lies too, or AI lies, right?
Yeah.
So
I saw that ad too. You almost died.
So even though ChatGPT is clever and gives you stuff, it's not 100% because I also asked it about, okay, I hate to say it, about Garshis. And I said, blah, 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 blah. And I said, but Ontario says this. Oh, yeah, you're right. And I said, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it just changed its mind. So you got to be careful with
that. Yeah, fair enough. So not real estate related, but I thought it was important to note. But about 2 weeks ago, just around Thanksgiving, Ontario lowered the mammogram self-referral age to 40 from 50. So this is for women who are doing breast cancer screening. Previously, you had to be 50 years old and get a referral from a doctor. So now as of 40 years old, you can actually self-refer yourself to get your breast mammogram. And I think it's really important for prevention of breast cancer. They're predicting about 1 million women who are going to be in this age range and growing every year, that now you can just call Ontario Breast Screening Program to book your own appointment. There's a whole list of providers on the Ontario Health website, and it's a huge 10-year gap between getting that check, and that 10 years could really save your life. So I think it's important that everyone knows, if you have sisters, moms, friends, girlfriends, whatever, that now the age is 40 years old for your breast mammogram, and you can self-refer yourself as well. So that was important to note. Now we're finally ready for training.
Yeah, just a couple of notes. So a bunch of you guys have been coming to the Systems for Success course. I think we've got about 90 people each week, which is really good to see a lot of you guys showing up. So maybe a few of you guys haven't been attending, but the first week we kind of talked, like we've just been talking about how to organize your business more than anything. So our first week, I just talked about how to do lead generation and marketing and how to actually like get your message out there and collect contact information of whether they're your sphere of influence, past clients, or brand new leads. Last week, we talked about the CRM system, which is just a follow-up system, and how to use a CRM platform and how to come up with a 12-month communication plan to actually stay in touch with all of those contacts that you've been generating, which I think a lot of agents struggle with. So the last 2 sessions have been pretty good. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. Oh my gosh, I'm squeaking now. A lot of good feedback. I've been talking a lot the last couple of weeks. I've got a couple agents that reached out. They're like, one, for example, she picked a niche, which was downsizers. So she's actually doing a seminar. She took action and she booked a seminar to talk to seniors. She's partnering with mortgage brokers and lawyers to get in front of a bunch of people that are looking to downsize their homes. Another agent, she's doing first-time homebuyer. She actually ended up doing an entire first-time homebuyer seminar in Japanese. So she took advantage of that session as well. And then I'm getting a few questions of people that are still overthinking the whole process. I talked about using an online home evaluation tool to collect contact information of home sellers. Some people went onto our website to use it and said, oh, well, the information's inaccurate. And I just want to remind you guys that these lead magnets aren't meant to be complete, accurate information. It's kind of like House Sigma when your clients are comparing house prices to House Sigma. And we're reminding them that that's not the real price, but the whole point of lead generation is to get contact information. So don't overthink this stuff, but hopefully if you have attended the sessions, you do have your marketing and lead gen plan in place. I gave you guys some good workbooks to work on. This week's going to be a little bit longer. So if you are coming to Wednesday's session, I would put out maybe an hour and a half this week instead of the hour that we've been doing, because I am going to be walking you guys through the entire home buying process, which is the lead conversion part of the business, where you're actually taking someone that found your marketing, reached out to you, said, hey, I am actually looking to buy a house now, and I want to show you guys how to do it properly, from doing a proper buyer consultation, how to do your showings properly, all the way to closing. So I'm going to be walking you through the whole process. So some of you guys are experienced agents and obviously know the process, but you're probably missing a few key parts, such as when to ask for a client testimonial. I'm going to be providing you guys with a ton of templates this year that I didn't provide you with last year. So you're going to get like a home moving template to send to your clients once they firmed up the deal. You're going to get the consultation checklist. You'll get a home showing checklist, home inspection checklist. So I've got about 15 checklists that you guys are going to be getting. Again, you will only get this if you attend the session live. But hopefully I'm going to be helping you guys just improve that buyer experience. Ultimately, the goal is for you guys to give your clients a good experience so that you can get more referrals from these people, because they're going to say how great of a person you were to work with. And then they're going to refer you to their friends and family. So I'm going to be walking you guys through it. Again, some of you guys know the process, but maybe there's a few little things that you haven't been doing throughout the process. We will talk about when to submit your paperwork, just to kind of remind you guys the process of that as well. But this week's on the buyer experience. So that's what we're going to do Wednesday, 10:30 to 12, let's say, just in case we do go overboard. I try to keep them an hour, but this one's a really good session. It's my highest watched session on YouTube over the years, so I think it's a really good one. So that's what we're going to be working on. And then other than that, we do have another event. Veran's got an event that's happening on Friday. Is it at 9 o'clock? 9 to 12? 9 to 2. Right, you've got a networking event. So if you don't have anything planned on Friday, it's at the Ajax Convention Center. He's got an economist coming in, Rob Vivian. Our friend from Calgary is going to be popping in as well. I'll be there as well, and a few of our agents. So it's a free event. So if you guys don't have anything happening on Friday, Ajax Convention Center. Talk to Varan if you guys want if you want the link and all that stuff. And then last but not least, we have Chris here. Chris is our tech guy. We've been screwing up the last few weeks, so he came back to figure out what the heck we're doing. But also, I did want to bring him in too, because I went to a conference in September. I don't know if any of you guys know John Cheplack, but he's a really good real estate coach in the US. And they had a good session. There was a team that was there, or small brokerage. And what they do every month for their agents is they actually bring in a videographer to come in. And the agents pay once a month. And what they do is they come in, they film about 5 reels or 4 reels. They come in as a big group. They all do the exact same video. It's kind of like what they do at the pre-construction events where you just line up, you read the script, and then you get filmed, and then the videographer will edit it for you, send it to you, and then you've got 4 or 5 pieces of content every single month. You don't have to think about it. So if you've been thinking about video content for your Instagram or your Facebook, but you don't have a videographer, you don't know what to post, you need some help, I thought it was a really great idea. So I asked Chris if this is something that he could offer you guys. So I'm going to let him you can kind of talk about it a little bit. So this is something that we thought you guys may benefit from as well if you're looking to just get some content for your pages. We've got Chris here that can help us out with that.
So, hey guys, I'm Chris if you haven't met me yet. So back onto the systems for success, this kind of ties right into it as well. So obviously content creation and social media is a huge thing that helps you guys kind of like keep up with your sphere of influence and find new people to join it. So the thing that we want to do is have a content day in office where it's a lot easier for you guys to all like batch shoot your content. So it's not like you're always jumping around trying to figure out what to film, wasting time trying to like film something that's specific that another agent you've seen do. We can basically work together as an office to think of the best things that you guys can put out for your audience. And so on this day, you have the opportunity to actually come in with a videographer team, which would be myself. If we have more people that want to join, we'll have other videographers come in as well. And we basically take you through the whole process that we do with other agents to put together your content for the month. So first thing that we would do is with the office, we'd schedule a day that we want to come in. If that day works for you guys, then you'll have time slots that you can select. And usually it depends how much content you guys want to create. It can be a 1-hour time slot, can be up to a 3-hour time slot, completely up to what you guys want and budget, how much you want to put out and stuff like that. Once we have that date selected, then as a team, we'll go together and kind of put together some topics that are trending. So right now, something that a lot of people are talking about is like the CMHC stuff. A lot of your clients that aren't real estate agents, obviously, you guys know a lot better than any of your normal clients. They don't know what CMHC is. They don't know what the changes are. They just hear everything in the news. So this gives you the opportunity to give them the breakdown of what it actually means. The news that's coming out, how does it actually affect them? And it's coming from you, so they look at you as their trusted source. So we put together usually a bunch of these ideas that if you have want to do 12 videos for the month, you'll have 12 topics that you can touch on. And then on top of this, when we meet with you guys before we do the shoot, we can also feel out what you guys want to talk about as well. So if you don't align with CMHC, but you think something else is better for let's say you specialize in investment clients and there's something that is better for them, then we can work with you on try to figure out how to break that down, how to get a good hook so that they get interested and it goes well, like it goes viral on Instagram and all those platforms. And then we help you break it down as well. So like hook, point 1, point 2, point 3. And then if there's a call to action that we can fit into there naturally, we help you figure that out before we do this. And that's usually going to be like a quick 30-minute call before the monthly content day. Then on that day, when we actually do shoot, all you guys do is show up. You already know what topics we're going to be talking about, so you can come in fully prepared. You already know what's going on. And we pretty much handle everything. We help give you direction to make sure that your energy's up and that you guys are coming across well on camera. It doesn't have to be one take that you do. If there's multiple takes, then we can help you kind of like guide you through to make sure that you guys come off confident on the camera as well. And then from there, we just take the stuff into the editing house and we just we edit everything using all the, either your branding, we can lay over your branding with it to make it different than anyone else's. And we add in like whatever is going to make it pop, grab attention. We put in those titles at the beginning to make sure that it grabs everyone's attention and they want to pay attention, give you captions, B-roll, and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, Santa, can you do next one? Next one that we would be doing is, so at that point, we'll deliver to you all your clips in a Google Drive folder so you guys are able to post it and schedule it out however you want. And we'll always give you guys tips on how you can promote it to organically and in a paid version, increase your reach to more people. So one of the things that we usually recommend is something that we call Reddit distribution. So you can find subreddits and organically post it. So that means it costs you $0. You just post it on there and it gets you extra views and gets it in front of a lot of people. And then we'll also give you some options for paid collaboration options. So we ourselves, we own Visualize Toronto. That's one thing that you guys can always tag with. You can always tag us as well, our company. We are Visualize as a collaborator, which helps you increase your reach. And then there's also like Ontario Housing Market, Ontario Market, all those that we have relationships with as well. So then after you guys post it, all this content that we shoot is supposed to last you guys a month. So then next month you guys can come and do fresh things based on fresh topics that are in the market. We go through all your social media stuff, look at the stats, look at the numbers, look what videos are performing, what's doing well, what's not. And we put together a tailored plan based on your previous month and previous performance on how you can move forward and improve what you're doing. And like I said, you repeat that next month to make sure that you have fresh content.
How do you do the paid advertising?
So with the smallest package, like us just coming in, we just tell you how to do it. We can tell you our recommendations on what you should be doing. But then if not, if you want to work with us, then we have packages for that as well, where we just handle it for you.
Is that a sponsored link or is it a boosting the advertising?
Or like a Facebook ad.
Yeah,
right?
Facebook ad, Instagram ad.
Is it it's something called boosting ad?
Oh no, we don't boost. Yeah,
So
it's in the back end. You're able to use it. Yeah, it'll show sponsored.
Someone's asking online if there's examples. If you check out our Percy Fulton YouTube channel, there's shorts on that channel and on our Instagram. Those were created by Chris and his team as well.
Same
And we
thing.
do Vern
if you go to
too.
We are Visualize on their Instagram. You'll see a bunch of their stuff. Vern does a lot of their content. Kabani and Pickering does it. You got a bunch of realtors that do it. So.
Yeah, we specialize in real estate. So even like Nava Wilson, we work with too. So.
That's this guy.
They all look alike.
Yeah, they all look alike.
I will say
with these videos, like even if you guys are all doing the same content, you all have completely different audiences. Like you guys don't have the same people following each other. So even if you guys are producing similar content, your audience doesn't follow everybody.
Yeah.
So it's good. No one's gonna know that you guys are similar.
And
that was one of the things that was brought up at the conference I was at because they had 20 agents. And their agents were concerned about that. And then they all looked at their followings. They're like, our friends are very different, family and all that. So the content didn't matter if it looked similar.
Yeah. And in terms of the branding, like the way that we make it look with captions and whatnot, we use your brand guideline if you have one, or if you guys have a logo, we kind of base it off of that. So all your captions are in your font that you use. The colors of the captions are your colors that you guys have for your brand. So it stands out a little bit different as well.
And what is the monthly cost?
So options.
We have 3 options that we put together for you guys. So it's all based on how many posts you guys want to do per month and per week. So the way that breaks down is in if you want to do 1 post per week, or I guess the first one is if you want to have 3 reels go out per week, that's 12 posts. So that gives you 3 posts or 3 reels per week. You get 12 posts total. You get a 3-hour, my eyes are so bad. You have a 3-hour content shoot. And that comes in at $16.99 per month. So that's for 12 videos. The next one you have is 2 videos per week, which gives you 8 per month. And that's in a 2-hour shoot. That comes in at $12.49 per month. And then the last one that we have is if you want to put out only 1 reel per week, which is 4 for the month. And that comes at, what is it? $7.99, $800 per month.
Which is pretty good. When I went to Ottawa, guys, I paid $1,100 for 4 reels for just 1 section. So that's about normal. That's good.
And the only reason that the prices are like this is because the Fultons over here want to bring us in-house for a day where we can work with you guys all at the same time. Whereas if we're traveling different places, then our pricing is different. Yeah.
So do we all have to agree on one plan? Like
No.
Okay.
No.
And you don't have to do per month. If you guys just want to do it once, that's fine. But I asked Chris about that too. We do think the monthly plan works obviously the best because if your goal is to be a content creator on Instagram and all that, you need to be posting consistently. So
Yeah, it'd be such a shame to post one good one and then everyone's excited for the next one and then you never post something again.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt if you want to do only one reel per week, putting that out and then just come and get fresh topics the next month as well.
But all these 4 reels are done one day.
Yeah.
The filming is done in one day.
It's not like if something happened today, the interest rate changed today.
That's right.
I'm going to do a reel today. And so
exactly.
Yeah, you have 4 weeks and then the next month we'll shoot again. Yeah.
Cool.
And it's all in house, so you just have to come to the office and
Yeah.
maybe bring a couple outfits if you want. And
Yeah,
that's
the
it.
outfits would help.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like it's the same day. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So if you guys are interested, let us know. Do you have your contact in there?
We'll send it out.
I do
We'll
not.
send it out? Okay,
I
we'll
can
send it.
organize with you guys as well,
Yeah.
and then we'll have that.
We'll
date
throw it in the
ready.
WhatsApp group and maybe an email blast as well.
So let us know if you guys are interested. Even if it's a small group of you, it's fine. But
Yeah.
if you guys are interested in content, then
Oh,
we
yeah, I
want
forgot you
to
can hear
help
you.
you out. Oh yeah, we want to help you. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Does anybody have any
Thanks, Chris.
properties you want to talk about before we close off? Anybody online or here in person?
Oh, I have a property.
Okay. Shiv has a property
It's a assignment.
assignment.
1,500 square feet with a rooftop garden, 3-story. Maintenance is POTL is 28.
Okay. 1,500 square feet. Whereabouts? In Pickering.
You know, one of those new one village parkway.
Yep.
Those ones.
Oh, the 1515 Pickering Parkway or which
No,
one?
it's
No.
Notion Drive.
Okay. Notion Drive. And when is occupancy?
Occupancy December.
December this year.
That's the new stuff on Pickering Parkway, right?
Sorry,
Pickering Parkway and Ocean.
same thing.
Notion. Yeah.
No, I know the area.
How
Yeah.
much is it?
Yeah, these are townhouses, 3-story townhouses.
3-story townhouses. Do you know how much your seller wants? Or
It's some listed for 775, but I think I was thinking maybe 700, 725.
Okay. So 700s ish range. Negotiable. Bring Shiv an offer. He'll work it out for
Do you have it? It's not on MLS, obviously.
Can be an
Yeah.
MLS, because
So
it's
Okay. Yeah, you could put it on Broker Bay for our own people to see it as well.
Just our office.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to put it on Facebook or anything.
Yeah, you could also try Broker Pocket. It's still advertising, so you have to be a little bit careful, but it's another assignment website. Cool.
And I'm getting another one today, but again, assignment, Universal Tower 3.
Okay. Another assignment, Universal Tower 3.
Was that?
I'm just repeating it for online so they can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Universal Tower 3,
Okay.
that's a 1 plus 10, 1.5 washroom.
Cool.
I told them it's about 500, 520.
Okay, that's like a lower end assignment. That'd be nice. It's a good investment. So there's lots of opportunities out there for sure, especially internally with each other. Anyone else? Claire, any final closing remarks?
Wednesday.
see you Wednesday. 10:30.
Wednesday. You've been getting about
Lead
Wednesday,
conversion.
half a point.
oh, right announcement. I thought you were excited for Katelyn's
And Katelyn Systems.
systems. Wednesday will be a good day.
Brian and I always have. Brian and I have a little running bet here. I'm thinking half a point this time. Half a point.
I want to say only quarter.
The bond yield's already priced for half.
Yeah, inflation's
Bond's already
already
done?
1.6. So.
I think it's positive. I think the rate's coming down. I think it's positive
Yeah.
news. I think the weather looks nice. I think we're in for a nice spot.
I agree.
3.9 out of 3
Kate and
year
Elizabeth,
fixed.
I'll put it on the WhatsApp group.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great week, and let us know if you need help with anything. Bye.
Bye.